We are live. It is official. Merry Christmas from Shred Claws. Emphasis on the claws. I hope everyone got exactly what they wanted for Christmas. Maybe a WAP t shirt or some WAP juice. Anything having to do with WAP. Some WAP nog. The title of today's video, guys, is The Real Top 10 Guitar Riffs. And I want to talk about how you, that's right, you behind the screen, have been lied to when it comes to what is really the greatest riffs of all time. We're going to discuss that as soon as I get some WAP juice up in my system. I'm quite parched. Mmm. Disgusting. Ugh. Okay. So let's talk about the source material I'm going to use for this video. Looks like we got some people coming in. Paul's here. What's good, bro? So we're going to be checking out the top10s.com. And again, the title of this article that we're going to be looking at is the top 10 songs with greatest guitar riffs. And the reason that these top 10 lists are a lie, in my opinion, is because they don't use any kind of objective measurement. The power of the riff compels me. That's correct. That was a great chat. And we're actually going to be talking about the power of the riff. John says, Smoke on the Water, Crazy Train. Yep, these are all popular riffs. But the way that they measure what the top 10 is based on subjective stuff. It's just my personal opinion. Well, I think Randy Rhoads is the greatest. Therefore, Crazy Train is the best riff. But that's not good enough for me. We need to go deeper and discover the truth of the matter. So we're going to be using some objective measuring mechanisms, namely the market demand. So what we're going to do first is go through this top 10 list, and then I'm going to give you the real top 10 list based on sales numbers. So, okay, well, you like Crazy Train, but how well did Crazy Train actually sell? Okay, so that's going to give us a better idea. Chuck Schuldiner, the best guitarist ever. Chuck Schuldiner will not be on any top 10 guitar riff list for the most part because he didn't sell enough. Chuck came from a band called Death, and they played, you guessed it, death metal. And as it turns out, not that many people are into death metal. If there was something called life metal, that would be great, but I don't think there is. So the top 10 guitar riffs. What is a riff even? What the hell is a riff? Well, there's a difference too between like riffs and licks, right? For me, a riff, I've been coming to realize this recently. Yeah, Jerry Cantrell is a riff lord. Yeah, I totally agree with that, from Alice in Chains. A riff, the way that I'm going to define it, is a complete unit of music composition. And the reason I say that is because the riff contains the three primary elements of music, right? It has melody, it has harmony, and it has rhythm. Or maybe I could say it this way: it has melody, it has harmony, and then it has rhythm, right? So those are the three essential elements. Yep, we got some more AIC fans in the chat. Wouldn't Stryper be considered life metal? That's a good point. They might be. Stryper was like a Christian 80s metal band. Yeah, fair enough. So Stryper is life metal. Death is death metal. A lick isn't the same as a riff. A lick, in my opinion, is something that has melody and it has rhythm, but it doesn't have harmony. So it's missing one of the fundamental components, excuse me, that makes music, right? So that's why this top 10 list is about guitar riffs and not licks. Those are what sell. That's the most popular way to write a song, right? It's all about the riff. All right. So let's get to the actual list itself. And cheers if you guys are just joining us. Are you judging on sales alone, says John? First, I will be judging by exactly what this list says, so no sales included. And then we will do the list with the actual numbers of the sales involved. And you're going to see it's a very different list. 69 grams of protein per sip in that WAP juice. I prefer 666 to be honest. That'd be even better, but 69 isn't bad. Coming in at number 10, the 10th spot for the greatest riff ever written. What is it? What do you think? It is from a band that came out in the early 90s from the grunge era. Dime is the riff messiah. Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. Dimebag is one of the most incredible riff lords. I'll 100% agree with that. So the number 10 spot is Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. This comes from an album called Nevermind. I want to say that was released in like 91, something like that. So that's number 10. Kurt Cobain, part of the 27 Club, blew himself away at age 27. The first song I learned to play, says Manny, was Smells Like Teen Spirit. How about that? It's not an overly difficult song. The funny thing is that it's in a strange key, F minor. That's unusual to be in that key. Most guitar players flee the key of F minor. It's highly dangerous because of the 4 flats that are contained therein. The number 9 spot is, you want to guess it? What's the 9th greatest guitar riff ever, according to the top10s.com? Of course, this is all subjective, meaningless BS. Cemetery Gates is incorrect. That is a Pantera song. Gates. Gerardo just says Pantera. Nope, that's not even a song. So that's a band. It has to be an actual song. Back in Black by AC/DC comes in at number 9. That is an iconic riff. Angus Young, of course, is one of the greatest rock and roll players. One of the greatest composers, one of the greatest riff lords, for sure. So the number 10 spot, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Number 9 spot is Back in Black. Now, the question is, are you going to agree with this list? Probably not. You're probably going to have your own personal opinion. But that's okay. We're going to get down to what's actually true. Your opinions be damned. Aussies represent. That's right. AC/DC has a mix of Australians and also people from the UK. And actually, I think their drummer might be from New Zealand. So it's quite a mix. Damage Inc. has the greatest metal riff from Metallica. Well, let me just say this, my brother. The more notes you play and the faster you play, the fewer people are going to listen to what you do. So Damage Inc. is one of the fastest Metallica songs. Therefore, it is one of the least popular. All right. Number 8. The number 8th spot. The 8th spot for the greatest guitar riffs of all time is Layla by Eric Clapton. Who would have guessed? Now, this is where I kind of get a little bit, I take a bit of an issue with this list because Layla is really technically like a lick. Layla is a lick, right? It's not really a riff if you think about it. It doesn't have any harmonic content. Good choice, says 13 Flaws. Lalick. Yeah, I like that. Good. Um, Gerardo says too long of a song. Yeah, Layla, I think it's like 7+ minutes or something. And the end of the track, I will agree with you, Gerardo. The end of Layla is just kind of like could be completely cut out. Doesn't really have anything to do with the main song. It sounds like they're two different songs. Like when you get to that ending part, it's literally like a whole separate song. It's bizarre. Number 7 on the top 10 greatest guitar riffs of all time is what do you think it is? Put it in the chat. It's from a band. It's from one of the longest living bands ever. This song or this band has been around literally like I think longer than any other rock band. 035, no. Led Zeppelin, Moby Dick, no. Rolling, this guy's onto something. No, it's not ZZ Top. No, it's not Aerosmith. The Stones. See if you can guess which Stone song this is. Walk this way is incorrect. Run this way. Stroll this way. Jog this way. Sprint this way. Satisfaction. Correct. Okay, so number 7 is I Can't Get No Satisfaction. This is from the record Out of Our Heads by the Stones. I don't know. I do think that is a kind of infectious riff. Um, Simplicity is important. That's something that I'm noticing in this list. Just keep it basic. The riff again is the fundamental unit of composition because it has all of the musical elements. It creates a complete musical recipe that we can feast on. I'm the One, yeah, by Van Halen. Yeah, that's a good one, but not on this list. Okay, number 6. Number 6, the 6th greatest guitar riff ever to be made in all 666 years of music history. What is it? It has to be Earworm. Nope, it's not Earworm. Hendrix. Hendrix usually is in these top 10 lists. I'll play it for you, and if you can guess it, you will get $666 million. Cream. That's a good guess. Cream is also Clapton, and we've already had some Clapton on this list, to be honest. Yes. Iron Woman. If anybody said that, Wooden Woman. I heard somebody say they wanted me to play Wooden Woman the other day. I thought that was pretty creative. Of course, it is Iron Man by Black Sabbath. That's correct. So that's number 6 from the album Paranoid. That was released in 1970. So how long ago was that? That's 30 plus 22. That's 52, almost 53 years ago, over a half century that song was released. All right. Number 5. The 5th greatest guitar riff of all time ever made, period. End of story. What is it? I guess Enter Sandman. No, it's not Enter Sandman. It's not Enter Sandman. Eric Clapton. Yeah, I like that. Cult of Personality, Nickelback, Like a Virgin. That's Madonna. You're way off, bro. Psycho Killer. White Wedding by Billy Idol. That's not a bad guess. Smoke on the Water. Limp Bizkit. That'd be wild if Limp Bizkit was on this list. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. That's a phenomenal song, although it doesn't really have like a guitar riff if you think about it. Not like a super hooky one. Breaking the Law by Judas Priest. No, it is, it's a song by Led Zeppelin. Okay? This song, the number 5 greatest guitar riff of all time, was something Jimmy Page wrote. Okay? So no, it's not Bowie, it's not Black Dog. Okay. Here's what it is. That's certainly the wrong chord. Motorhead. I like Motorhead. Yeah, a whole lot of love. Bunch of people got it. RJ's got it. Ding, 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 ding. 666 mil for you, RJ. Off Led Zeppelin 2. That's correct, Robbie. Yep, it's Zepp. So that's number 5. Whole lot of love. Led Zeppelin 2. Let's get to number 4. What is the 4th greatest guitar riff of all time? I, Shred Claws, will tell you. Emphasis on the claws. Whole lot of WAP juice. Nice. I like it. White Stripes. You know, the White Stripes are not on this list. The White Stripes are kind of like more, they're almost too recent to be considered for these. Ozzy ain't talking about love. Nickelback. Why would Nickelback be on this list? No, they're never on these lists. Okay, number 4 is Enter Sandman from Metallica. So Metallica has finally entered the chat. They finally entered the list. I mean, are they the heaviest band on this list so far? I guess Black Sabbath is on too, but Metallica really is heavier than Black Sabbath. Wouldn't we all agree? I would agree with that. Metallica is heavier than Black Sabbath. And so they are the heaviest band on this list. And the reason I bring that up is because heavy music is typically not liked as much. It's not in the public. It's not on the top 10 charts. It just doesn't sell as well. Lord Dave, yeah, Megadeth doesn't make many lists. Let's just be honest. So Metallica has made the list at number 4 with Enter Sandman. That is the 4th greatest guitar riff of all time, according to the top10s.com. Oh, get in my belly, WAP juice. Sabotage, no, they're definitely not on this list. We all respect Sabbath. Yes, we do. I mean, you have to. Lord Oz is in tough shape right now. He's struggling with some health issues, and we're all pulling for him. When Ozzy goes, it will be like, man, that will be a sad day. The originator, the godfather of metal, will have passed, and that's going to be a very depressing thing. Okay, number 3. What is the 3rd greatest riff of all time? I want you to guess what this 3rd greatest riff of all time. No questions asked. If you don't think that this is the 3rd greatest riff of all time, you're wrong. Wrong. Yeah, a lot of people asking for Pantera, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Pantera is not on this list. Iron Man, we already did Iron Man. Where were you, bro? So the number 3 greatest guitar riff of all time in all 666 years of metal's history is Crazy Train. Yeah, I mean, there's some good guesses here. A lot of people still hitting the 035. Are You Dead Yet? Yeah, no, definitely not Children of Bottom. Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Yeah. Um, Crazy Train. Yeah, this is like a riff that everybody learns, right? It's a great riff. Right, that's exactly how Crazy Train goes. Everybody knows that. Or was that Sane Train? Maybe I changed it to Sane Train. Seasons in the Abyss. No, that's Slayer. Slayer, it won't make these lists, and the reason is because they're too heavy and they're too fast. People don't like that. Sorry, Slayer. I don't know what to say, Carrie King. I mean, I love you, Carrie, but you're not gonna make these lists. Number two. We're at number two spot. Okay, what is the second greatest guitar riff of all time? Why don't people like that? Says Jack. Again, it's why don't people like Slayer? Is because they're too heavy, they're too fast, and they're too dissonant. Hotel California. Yeah, that's a good guess. From the Eagles. Holy Diver. Yeah, that's a great riff. That would be on the best like metal list. Blue Oyster Cult. Sweet Child. Okay, whoever said Sweet Child, Aaron. Aaron, you win. You win at life. You get $666 million and a free lifetime supply of WAP juice because the number two spot is, in fact, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. This this song was a big deal. It was it came off of the Appetite for Destruction album, which I think was released in, I want to say, 1987. I could be a little off on that, but somewhere thereabouts. And that was a seminal record that really changed the world. I still, yeah, RJ says 1987. Yeah, I believe that's correct. I still hear people playing that record when I walk through the streets of Los Angeles, which is where it was recorded originally. And it's just stood the test of time. Everybody loves Guns N' Roses, and they affectionately, refer to LA as the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. That's the opening track on Appetite for Destruction. And it really is a jungle in Los Angeles. I've lived there for 12 years, and I can tell you that it is a wild, untamed place. Hence, it's named the jungle. Okay, the first and greatest guitar riff of all time. If you disagree with this, you're wrong and you'll be burned at the stake for all eternity. But guess what the greatest guitar riff of all time is? Hot for Teacher, Elvis, Taylor Swift. Yeah, no. Michelangelo Badio, of course. A little bit of Mab for number one. Stairway, Weezer. Aqualung. Oh boy. No. Seven Nation Army. It's not a horrible guess. Smoke on the Water. Casey. Casey, you win $666 million. Let's bump it up to 666 trill. Why not? You get even more. 666 trill for Casey. Why? Because he guessed Smoke on the Water. Thank you, Gigadeath, for the $5 super chat. Raining Blood. Raining Blood is, again, I mentioned this earlier. Unfortunately, Slayer and Kerry King, Jeff Hanneman, they don't make these top 10 lists for, I guess, like three primary reasons. Too fast, too dissonant, and too, man, what was the other one? Speed, too many notes, too much out of key stuff. I guess that would be the way to put it. I personally, enjoy a lot of notes. I'm kind of a lot of notes guy. But the society at large doesn't appreciate it none too much. Okay, So yeah, Smoke on the Water is number one. Richie Blackmore. Now this has an interesting story behind it. Richie Blackmore, the mystic mage, he's very into like medieval seances and stuff. Him and Dio would like turn out the lights and conduct like a demonic seance to get inspired to write music for Rainbow and whatnot. They're pretty interesting guys. But Richie Blackmore took Beethoven. He stole something from Beethoven. What he did was he looked at Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Dun 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 dun, bum 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 bum. Right? We all know that. And Richie, he looked at those notes and he played them backwards. And that's how he wrote Smoke on the Water. So he stole from Beethoven. He stole that classic riff. And we call this retrograde when you play something backwards. It's a compositional device that Bach used. I like to credit it to Bach. I'm sure someone came up with it before Bach did, but no, I'm not kidding, Jack. This is the story. Richie tells this himself if you want to look it up on YouTube. So, Richie Blackmore, the way Richie Blackmore wrote the number one guitar riff of all time was he took Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and played it backwards. So I guess you could say that Beethoven is the number one greatest riff of all time. And in fact, we should be praising classical music as the origin of the greatest riff. Hilarious. Yeah. No, it's not toccata and fugue. That's Bach. That's a whole different thing. Although Bach's toccata and fugue, as I like to call it, is a great piece of music. And Yngwie Malmsteen, the one who doesn't appreciate donuts, he really stole a lot from that particular piece. If you listen to the various types of counterpoint and pedal point licks that are used in Bach's toccata and fugue, you can obviously see that Yngwie is stolen from Bach. He's a thief. All right, check it out. We're going to do the real list now, okay? That was the fake list. It's a lie. It's a total lie. And okay, what do we got here? Slow, emotive solos are considered. Boy, that's disappearing on me. If slow, emotive solos are considered popular by the masses, then why do our fellow shredlords only play 84th notes at 300 beats per minute, instead of adding diversity to their solos from technique and phrasing? I'll tell you why, Spread My Cheeks, Daddy. Very solid name you got there. What happens is men, in particular, they try to please other men, right? It's basically a dick measuring contest that happens, right? So we're trying to see whose unit is bigger. And that encourages us to play faster, more gratuitous sweeping and whatnot. But that just doesn't connect with the general population and the masses. What the people in general want to hear is a good melody, something with harmony, something like Iron Man or Smoke on the Water, or Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. But guys, who want to impress other dudes, we sometimes get stuck thinking that music is athletic performance and that if we can play enough notes with enough virtuosic technique, then we will kind of rise to the top of the dominance hierarchy and be respected by our fellow men and ergo get all the girls, which ironically is not how it works. You got to dump things down and play Wonderwall to actually get the babes. Hopefully that answered your question. I think you had another one here. You guys are blowing me up. Where did that other super chat go? I don't even know. Appreciate you anyways, though, bro, for sending that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the real top 10 list based on what the numbers say. Now, this is just from the bands and songs we've already mentioned. This wouldn't even be like the real list at large, according to all of the best sales. But I'm going to poke some serious holes in the subjective list here that we just went through because we need to know what's actually real here. Okay, so list by the sales. Layla is number 10. Now, Layla in the first list was number 8, so it dropped 3 spots based on sales because Layla has sold 1.1 million copies. The record that Layla is off of is called Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. Okay, so that is 1.1 million units sold. So it's actually not as popular. Yeah, Clapton, exactly, Jack. Is not as popular as the first list purported it to be. Now, this is crazy. Number 9 is Smoke on the Water. Okay, so Smoke on the Water was number 1 on the first list, but by the sales, it drops to number 9. Okay, so it's not even close. Here's a bribe to put Pantera at the top. Thank you, Matthew. This isn't my list, so I mean, I can't put Pantera at the top because this is from the top10s.com. My personal, if I did a personal list, that'd be very different. That would just be my own subjective opinion. And I do love Dimebag Darrell. Okay, so Smoke on the Water has sold 2.8 million units from the album Machine Head, right? So it dropped from number 1 to number 9, a massive difference. Number 8 on the real greatest guitar riffs of all time is Iron Man. Iron Man sold more copies than Smoke on the Water at 5 million from the album Paranoid. Okay? The Beatles are not on this list, actually, which seems kind of strange, doesn't it? You think the Beatles would be on this list. Okay, so on the first list, Iron Man, where was Iron Man? Iron Man was number 6, but it dropped 3 spots to number 8 in the real list because it's only sold 5 million copies. All right, number 7 is Crazy Train, the 7th greatest guitar riff according to the numbers. I'm talking about market demand, how much it's sold is Crazy Train. Yeah, so 7.3 million units of Blizzard of Oz, the record Blizzard of Oz, sold 7.3 million units. And man, was this like the last record I think that Randy did before he perished in a plane crash, I think. Beat It, yeah, with the Eddie solo. Yeah, that's not on this list. Again, like this isn't a list by the numbers. Like the way that people come up with these lists is just, personal opinion stuff. It's just what they think should be it. And, that sometimes aligns with market demand and other times it doesn't. Number 6, Whole Lot of Love by Zeppelin, okay, from Led Zeppelin 2. So Led Zeppelin 2 sold 12 million units. Now, on the first list, Whole Lot of Love was number 5. So it only dropped 1 spot. It went from 5 to 6. So that's actually pretty close. Was it 1970, RJ, that Led Zeppelin 2 was released? That sounds about right. Okay, so 12 million for a Whole Lot of Love at the number 6 spot. So it's really only dropped down one place. Number 5 is I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And that is 16 million units. So 4 more million than Whole Lot of Love. Yeah, it's just like the Forbes stuff, isn't it? We do things by the numbers here, guys, because musicians tend to be very subject to their emotions. After all, music is an emotional language, right? So when you're arguing with your friends about who the best metal band is or, what the best guitar riff is, um, try to set your personal opinions aside. I mean, those are fine to have, but it's also good to look at the actual market demand. That way you're not fooling yourself and you're thinking like, okay, I'm gonna write like some Kerry King Slayer riffs and sell like a zillion albums. You just won't. Not gonna work. Okay, where are we at? We did number 5. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. That's 16 million units by the Stones. Number 4 is Enter Sandman, the Black Album, 28 million. Oh man, that is insane. Papa Het never ceases to amaze me. He's even outsold the Stones by almost a factor of 2. So Enter Sandman from the Black Album, 28.3 million units. And that's the same as it was on the first list. So it didn't move from the 4 spot. Interesting. Yeah, that's Kirk's riff. Exactly, Jack. So really, Kirk should be getting some props for this. Yeah, Bob Rock, the producer on the Black Album. Bob Rock is one of the most incredible, brilliant producers, and I really think he was largely responsible for the success of the production on the Black Album that was recorded in North Hollywood, California. And there's you can watch like the making of on that and see the boys go through the process. Yeah, he's like the 5th member of Metallica, Jack. Exactly. Okay, 28.3 million for Enter Sandman and the Black Album. Number 3. Now here's where, man, we're going even higher now. So the number 3 spot is Sweet Child O' Mine. 30 million. 30 million units sold for Appetite for Destruction. Some serious numbers right there. Slash, aka Paul Silas or whatever his name is. I mean, that dude really had a good ear for a hook and a melody. That's everybody remembers the first time they heard Sweet Child of Mine. I used to play that song until my mom would just go nuts. Or Saul Hudson, there you go. What did I say? I said something totally not that. Yeah, so Saul Hudson is Slash's real name. Oftentimes we come up with these stage names to kind of make things more interesting because Saul Hudson is just not a very cool sounding name. Okay, Sweet Child of Mine, number 3 spot, 30 million from Appetite for Destruction. Number 2 is Smells Like Teen Spirit, 30 million. So that's a tie. It's really a tie between Sweet Child of Mine and Smells Like Teen Spirit. But Teen Spirit was number 10 on the original list, and by the sales, it's number 2. So it jumped 8 spots. That's kind of a big deal. So the point I'm trying to make with this video is that there's a difference between your subjective personal opinion and the objective reality of the market. So what people buy is different than what people say. Yes, Kurt Cobain. Okay, are you guys ready for the number 1 spot? The number 1 greatest guitar riff by the sales, by the numbers. So I'm not talking about personal opinion stuff again. The best-selling guitar riff on this list, anyways. This isn't necessarily the best-selling guitar riff of all time. It is from Antichrist Devil Child. Yeah, Thunderstruck. It's the right band. What band is Antichrist Devil Child? Anybody know? Purple. No, it's not Deep Purple. AC/DC. That's right, Matthew. Matthew Hopkins. David got it. So Back in Black sold 50 million albums, or 50 million units. That's, what is that? That's like That's almost, it's like 40% more than the number 2 spot. So Smells Like Teen Spirit and Sweet Child sold 30 million, but Back in Black sold 50 million. Just completely smashed both of those. Now Back in Black came out, when did Back in Black come out? Like 1980 something, early 80s. So there you have it, guys. I mean, okay, RJ 1980. RJ has all the stats. I like it. And Dre Zero also says 1980. That's what I thought it was. I don't know if like that has anything. Well, no, because Zeppelin. I don't know if there's like a peak buying, period for records where it was like, in the early '80s, people bought more when it came to records or something. The other thing to consider here is, some of these bands have better marketing campaigns that they run. So you may have a good product or a good song or an album, but if you don't know how to market it properly, it's not going to get out there. And that's something to consider if you are interested in making your own music or having a band of your own. You're going to have to figure out how to actually get it in front of people. Because even if you have a good product, if nobody knows it exists, then it's not going to sell. Now, listen, guys, if you want to become a riff lord, you can check out my free newsletter below in the description. I Shred Clause, emphasis on the clause. I've put together a free way for you to learn, basically. I've got guitar technique, music theory. This is some serious value, all for free. It's nuts. Oh, we got a Patreon member here. Matthew Hopkins is a patron. I salute you for those about to rock. Another Antichrist, Devil Child reference. I mean, I'm fascinated by this stuff, like the difference between, just our personal opinions and what's real. Music, I think, is more objective than we realize. I think there is a subjective component to it, with taste and whatnot, but there's also objective things like, a good melody. I think Bach has taught us there is science to that, and it just its shape. It has to have like a rise and fall to it, and so when you're making music, learn about actual objective structure. I Shred Clause, emphasis on the clause. Am signing out. Thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning into this live stream. It's been fun. I'll be doing more live streams in the future to interact with you guys on a deeper level. It's just kind of fun to be able to do a back and forth and not just have it be a one-way conversation. So enjoy your holiday season here. New Year's is coming up soon. I want to make a pact with you guys to shred harder than ever in 2023. It's time to take our chops to the next level, and not just our chops though. Think back to that super chat. The guy was talking about why do people, like to play a lot of notes when they don't sell. Let's also work on just our compositional skills and actually understanding how to make good music that's objectively good. Later, guys. We'll see you soon.